you're that close to like an alcoholic in a bar and you can't have that shot of bourbon. Being that close, you could see Rick when he takes that off, like he really wants to go. And you could see his body reacting off the energy of the pop of the crowd.
Somebody wearing a Rick Rude mask, who I swear, because I didn't realise it was going to be who it was going to be, I was looking and thinking, is that Terry Gordy under that mask? Because you sort of got a kind of thing going on. And he's wearing the simply ravishing robe. It's meant to be Rick Rude. This masked man turns up, kisses Francine, who passes out, and you explain the rest of it and who came up with that.
Yeah, Rick, when he had come in, and there had been this whole he's here to fuck with the franchise thing. Everybody out there knows that the franchise character was a takeoff on the Rick Rude character pieces. The cut the music, cut the fucking music. The similar character. I was always a huge mark for Rick's work. A phenomenal in-ring performer. Overly tense at times, but phenomenal in the ring. Believable. And as soon as I'd forgotten it, but as soon as Brian Lee came out of it, you said Gordy, but I knew it was Brian instantly, just the way he had that jaw sticking out. And you could see the thinner, so not quite the Rick Rude build, the lean build and everything. And then as soon as I saw him about 2 steps out, I went, oh, that's right. Rick takes off the helmet and he's right behind. But when I said earlier about the nuance school laying out of this match, this is where we know we're building it too. That's the culminating point. Typically in a match, we'd culminate with the turning from heat to go home or whatever. This was a bit different in that sense. And so a little bit harder to carry out. But when Rick takes off the helmet and, we just, dismask or unmask Brian Lee, then these things sort of lay out. And then you see the presumptuous pop by the audience, finally getting what they wanted out of that particular piece. Rude was so good at what he was capable of doing in the ring. The problem was by this point was twofold. He had already collected on the Lloyds of London payoff, and his neck was still fucked up. And so Rick, was very frustrated because, speaking as somebody who knows, when you're that close to the ring and you can't perform, there's part of you can do better than, there's that ego part of it, but also the part that you're that close to like an alcoholic in a bar and you can't have that shot of bourbon. Being that close, you could see Rick when he takes that off, like he really wants to go, and you could see his body reacting off the energy of the pop of the crowd. It was all there to lay out. Unfortunately, we couldn't take it where we would have liked to have taken it with Rick because of the issues with his neck and the Lloyds of London payoff and everything else. It was sort of like being like sexually aroused and not allowed to reach climax. That's if that makes sense with Rick Rude. But boy, what a pop that was at the end of the night. And really, I think pulled all what I think were the loose ends of that match and tightened them together. And I think got us where we needed to get to coming out of that match.